With two legends addressing their future in wrestling and more, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching the Wrestling Report for October 13th. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Talking about his run in WWE, which recently came to an end, former commentator for Raw, Jimmy Smith, explained on MMA on Sirius why he does not agree with that moniker. First off, let me explain that I wasn't a commentator in WWE. I was not. I played a commentator on television, and that's not an insult. I'm not saying it wasn't difficult or not. It was very difficult, but it's like you're a character pretending to commentate fake fights. And I had a mailbag question about, man, you're always staring at the screen. I was like, yeah, because you're not supposed to acknowledge anything that's not on the screen. Anything the fans can't see, I don't see. Yeah, I see Finn Balor running into the ring with a chair. I'm not blind, but I'm not supposed to acknowledge it because they shoot around it until he hits Edge over the head with a chair. So I'm not supposed to see it until the audience sees it. So I'm like blinding myself literally. I have blinders on. I just watch the stream. I'm not telling you what's really happening. I'm not telling you what you're not seeing, which is kind of the fun part of doing commentary. It's having that in-depth analysis that you're not really able to do, or that vision that you're not really able to have in WWE. Speaking on Brian Hebner's podcast about re-signing with Impact Wrestling, Josh Alexander revealed he got other offers. I had opportunities to go elsewhere, 100%. If I would have not agreed to a new deal or something like that, like it didn't really cross my mind because I felt like I had unfinished business here at Impact. I felt like there was so much more I could do and offer and show, not just Impact, but the wrestling industry as a whole. All these other companies, what I'm capable of. Impact was the first company that gave me an opportunity. Scott D'Amore called me up and offered me a contract. They were the company that gave me an opportunity. That's all you can ask for as a professional wrestler. Since I got here, it's been nothing but roses for me, man. I was here for like 2 months, and then I was tag team champion. I lost the tag belt, and I was without a belt for 3 months, and I was X Division champion. I never lost that belt. I won the world championship. 6 months later, I won the world championship again. For me, the thing that I get out of wrestling, it's not winning all the time. It's not the championships. It's the challenges. I want to be challenged. I want to feel like I'm in an uncomfortable position where I have to better myself and improve. It's been nothing but that the entire time I've been here, and that's all I could ask for. So I'm very happy to say. Talking about Triple H's initial departure from NXT and WWE with his heart condition, Shawn Michaels mentioned on the MMA Hour. Nothing sucks more than having to follow in those footsteps and then have all these abrupt changes that you have to take over. I will say this, from my knowledge at the time, for instance, that logo that came at the last minute, even from Hunter's standpoint, from the best of my understanding, it was, this is what it is. That's maybe something that I saw the interview you did with Hunter, where he said there were a lot of things that people thought that he wouldn't have done or decisions he didn't make, but they actually were. There were some things that he did know about, but then there were others, especially as it started going and he wasn't there, that were very different and difficult to deal with. Me, having stepped in from the outside, you can be in Orlando, but not have any idea what's going on from a corporate standpoint in Stamford. That's where it was difficult for me. I stepped in and was no longer answering to Hunter. I was answering to other people, and quite honestly, I wasn't sure who that was, because it was different people at different times. It was very challenging. The one thing in this company you must adjust to is change. Things can change overnight, but it was my understanding that Hunter did want to get back to the developmental. I don't think we would have done it as drastically. For instance, starting out the first shows with 75% new people. We wouldn't have put anybody out there before we were ready. There were some things sort of insisted upon that we couldn't control. I certainly couldn't control, and Hunter, because he wasn't here, had no say. It was challenging and it wasn't fun, trying to be that guy to balance both sides. Putting on A 2-hour live wrestling event with people who have never done it before is not easy. What this crew has been through over the last year really brought us closer together, and the fans got to watch the progression of these young men and women over the last year, and over time, I think you respect what they went up against because it wasn't easy for any of us. You do what you're told. You take that hill, whether you should be taking it, and that's what we've certainly tried to do. When everything is said and done, I think we're all better for it, going through the challenge. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say it was rough. Touching on her AEW debut during Dynamite this week, Renee Paquette explained why she signed with the company. It's missing being around professional wrestling. It's missing the TV aspect of doing things. I miss the crowds, I miss the lights, the outfits, and the aspect of putting on an actual show. I'm ready to get out of my sweatpants is what I'm saying. As much as I have been around a lot, I never really talked to Tony Khan about coming into AEW. A lot of it was, this is probably going to sound bad, and I'm sure people are going to take this out of context, but honestly, a lot of it was talking to John. Man, I want to get back into the wrestling world. I miss doing stuff. As he's thinking about what the shows look like in his role, most of our conversations were internally between John and I about figuring out that I want to do something and come back. What that conversation is, how are we going to go about that? Him and Tony are obviously very close. They spend tons of time talking about things. It was more so them talking about it because I think a lot of people thought I was sort of done with wrestling to a degree. And maybe they didn't want to ask me to do something that they thought I didn't want to do, or they didn't want to step on John's toes. Those are all very real things. It was just the timing of everything. I want to be there as a broadcaster, as a personality. I want to be able to help other people if they want or need help. I want to be an ear for people any way that I can, and use my 8 years of experience having worked in WWE to see how I can help in AEW. It all happened really fast. All of a sudden, John and I have been talking about it, and it felt like the next day my manager is calling me, they're reaching out, the contract is coming through. Wow, that was a quick turnaround. Speaking about how Vince McMahon would have hypothetically run AEW, Jim Ross said on his Grilling JR podcast, he probably would like less wrestling. Vince has never watched the first minute of AEW. I would venture to say he hasn't watched the first minute of any wrestling show since he's been gone. You think he knows all about Darby Allin? Like he knows all about Orange Cassidy, right? What's an Orange Cassidy, JR? Somewhere along the line, you've got to watch these shows. You've got to take the time to invest in the characters. So I don't know that he would be able to give you a real good feel or good feedback. With WWE's Day 1 pay-per-view set for New Year's, the Wrestling Observer has brought up possible changes to the event. They had discussed changing the date. I don't think they will. I was told a couple of weeks ago that if they do make a change, the change would have been announced on Friday. Friday came and went. There was no announcement, so I presume it's on, and the tickets will be on sale soon. It still might be changed, but I don't know. The problem is every day that they could change it to, they've already got shows booked. Of course, they could cancel those shows, but I've not heard of them not selling tickets in those other things, and I think they would freeze ticket sales of one of the other shows if they were going to cancel. The idea of the pay-per-view is January 1st. They want to make it an annual tradition in Atlanta, and January 1st is a Saturday, I believe, this year. It's actually a Sunday. I guess New Year's Day is a holiday either way. If it's on a Thursday, that's fine too. But they want the January 1st evening tradition to become a wrestling holiday tradition. I presume it will keep going, but yes, there was discussion of the date changing, and that's probably why they've delayed ticket sales. On his To Be The Man podcast, Nature Boy Ric Flair touched on a potential return to WWE as he said, I don't know what I would do. I'd love to be a part of the company and do stuff with them, but I don't know. It's funny, they're doing this huge documentary on me now that'll air Thanksgiving week or the week before Christmas. I think they're leaning towards Thanksgiving. Some names going around, but I think it's called Finding Flair. This will be better than my 30 for 30 on ESPN because I made them promise me that whatever I said, they wouldn't edit. I'm not going to do something that's going to be edited again. With him only wrestling a few matches this year for AEW, Dustin Rhodes took to Twitter yesterday to write, "Man, old age has caught up to me, guys. As much as I push myself beyond my limits, I can honestly say I am doing some heavy thinking about the next step. We all think we can go forever with new batteries, but time comes for all of us. Kinda scared, to be honest." With Adam Cole previously competing in a fatal 4-way match for AEW despite being injured heading into it, he would suffer a concussion during that bout. While he's been out of action since, Dave Meltzer had this to say about his future, noting that it's a concussion. It's a bad concussion. Real bad concussion. He'll be back when he's cleared. It could be tomorrow, and it could be never. You know what I mean? And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.